Yes?
So where does this Common Core initiative and how we support its progression? Where does
Well,
that fit in?
I know you missed Hunter, you hit missed Hunter's part, we let him talk before.
Right here.
Oh, okay.
Right here.
Yeah, he's right here. But, fundamentally, I mean, what I'm proposing is a little bit broader than the Common Core concern. I'm proposing that we prevent the state of Arkansas from imposing bad programs on good schools and good teachers, which includes Common Core. If we can return control of our schools to local school boards and local communities, then we're gonna, that, in my opinion, will inherently stop most of those kind of deals.
Curtis, what can we do about the bureaucracy that so many of these questions have revolved around? What can we do about the bureaucracy of the Department of Education?
Conservative governor, so they can appoint people.
Okay, Kenny, turn that camera off.
Well, the Department of Education didn't start until 1979, 1980. I graduated high school in '88, received a great education from a small southeast Arkansas school. I lived and done whatever I wanted to do all around the U.S.
Right.
And they did not really have any bearing on us at that point. But since I got out, now their budget has done this and our scores have done this.
Right.
So,
Well, I can tell you what I've already said publicly, and that is that we reduced the administration of the State Department of Education by an annual budget of $24 million a year. That's just administration. And we moved that over, to community colleges, right? So we're gonna defund a whole lot of that bureaucracy. Right. And we're gonna put it where it's really useful and effective. But if we can return control of schools to local school districts, local school boards, and local parents, and if we will remove the liberty of the state to force a lot of bad programs in local schools, you won't need that bureaucracy anymore. I mean, there will be no purpose for their existence.
Curtis, there's a lot more wieners out there,
Oh, yeah.
and we're gonna lose more and more.
Right.
and by the way, that 350 student threshold was a totally made-up number. There was no
It was very
justifiable
arbitrary.
basis for it.
Right. Very
And the
arbitrary.
Department of Education admitted that to us.
So there was no statistical need for
There was
that.
no, yeah, it was, but there was claimed to be efficiency. But if you look at the best studies we've got now, the most efficient schools we have in education are rural schools.
Yeah, the smaller ones, absolutely.
And if you look at wieners is spread out away from everything else. Their population is 1,200,
That's about right.
and so how are you gonna have more than 300 kids out of 1,200? But that's their home.
Right. And thanks for pulling that play to school thing, that needs improvement thing up to the surface there. I just went right over.
And I support you. I think sometimes we pull numbers out and we don't know exactly, what.
Yeah, it was a broad stroke with a broad brush.
Well-
But it's very applicable in some of our counties in Arkansas.
I think people's jobs sometimes, to her point, they have to produce internally somewhere, so they pull up random numbers and these things get acted upon. And it's not for the benefit of the people or these children, it's just a lot of times for people to look important in their jobs and keep these jobs.
Yeah.
It's not for what's good for the people.
Yeah.
What can be done to the areas in the schools where you've got 20, 30, 40% of the kids don't care whether they get an education or not? You know, give a rip about going to school, and they're hurting everyone else. How do you handle something like that?
Well, my response to that, frankly, is that there's some things beyond the reach of government. And I think we need to acknowledge that. I think if you really study the core fundamental problems that we have in Arkansas, from education problems to prison problems, addiction problems, methamphetamine issues, and burglaries, you trace all that back to the collapse of the family. And most of this is not gonna be fixed until we restore the family to a mom and a dad who love God and can teach their children how to do that. And teach them about personal responsibility. And in my opinion, that is beyond the reach of government.
And I was gonna say, also, my sister's sister-in-law used to teach in Brinkley, and you know that is in East in Arkansas. And this is just a little personal experience, but she was trying to, and this was in junior high, she was trying to tell them that they need to get their GPA up and want to get in college and really need to pay attention to your grades. And they said, why? We're just gonna get our check. Meaning, you know, our own government, our federal government. You know, why go to school, why get a job when the government's gonna give you a check?
Gotta remove that incentive.
And that's all they know, because that's what they've grown up with. And it's just a perpetual cycle.
That's their education.
Yeah, it's education.
Curtis, I think you hit on a very good answer for this gentleman earlier. You didn't say it in the words, but you led us to believe it. And I would think to encourage students from dropping out of school and destroying their lives, show them there's a tomorrow with a governor that cares about education, cares about trade schools, cares about the student themselves. You know, it's.
Well, I think a lot of it, honestly, I genuinely believe a lot of it is about leadership. And I think we need to return, what government can do is make heroes out of moms and dads and families, and make a heroes out of them and let them be the Captain Americas of our society. And I think that's where leadership comes in. And I've already been talking to a cadre of pastors here in the state, and I'm really excited. Some of them may know Bishop Robert Smith, who's kind of one of the deans of the list of African American pastors, and we're already spending a lot of time talking about how pastors around the state can start working together, especially African American pastors and other nationalities. I'm having a fabulous time meeting with Hispanic pastors up in northwest Arkansas. Tammy will tell you, the last time I was up there, there was a group of Hispanic pastors in a church in Rogers. And the last thing they did was we had a prayer meeting, and I loved it. Everybody prayed out loud, and there were English at the same time. At the same time, English and Spanish and Marshallese, and I don't know what that language is. The pastors all praying out loud, and then they let me kneel in the center, and they all came and laid hands and prayed for me. And I'm going to tell you, I would have driven up there every day just for that. But we're seeing pastors around the state. I'm so encouraged. I'm seeing a demonstrative concern about what's happening in our culture in our state.